both girls too.
Oh, there you go.
You're welcome.
Oh, that's good.
Probably just
waiting
to hear us.
Yeah, so,
Probably just waiting to hear us rant about like Matt Tuck and how dreamy he is or something.
oh,
These two are actually pretty big fans of the band, so.
Oh, there we go.
They've been expecting this for a bit.
nice.
Right on.
All right, Josh with the hostess, mostest, all the things. Let's get this on the go.
Yeah, let's go. So, yeah, we are ranking Bullet For My Valentine today.
Yeah.
Hello.
Before I forget, I'm going to post on my story again, even though I literally just did it. I'm doing it now.
Oh, there's Holly. There's my lovely lass from Scotland.
Scotland.
Yeah. See, I know people.
I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, well. See, most of these people only tolerate me because of the love for a specific hockey team. Fucking England, Scotland, it's all the same fucking thing. I love you too. I love you. It's all the same fucking shit to me.
Yeah, well, over here it is definitely not the same thing, but yeah,
yeah, it's all over the pond either way.
Oh God.
Oh dear. Right.
All right. Start this nonsense.
Can we make a start?
Yes.
Right. So, we're going to do it how we've always done it with these streams, going chronological order from the debut album to the latest album. I thought about doing a bit of a brief bio in case there is anyone out there that does not know about the band or would like to know a little bit more about how the band started. I did a brief bio. So they formed in 1998 under the name Jeff Killed John in Bridgend in Wales. And Bridgend is just sort of in the Cardiff region in Wales. And the original lineup consisted of Matt Tuck on vocals and guitar, Michael Padge on guitar, Michael Moose Thomas on the drums, and Nick Crandall on the bass. And they basically met at college and formed the band at college. When they first started out, they played Metallica, Nirvana covers, and they also released a couple of EPs under the name Jeff Killed John. That was sort of a bit more in the new metal sound. However, when I did a bit of research, and one of their EPs actually had a couple of songs that appeared on their debut album, The Poison, which I thought was quite interesting. One of Wales' best sports. Probably, yeah. They probably are. Oh, my camera's glitching out a bit.
Yeah. Fuck it.
Of course. Hang on, wait a second. I'll just unplug it and plug it back in because that's going to get annoying really fast.
Have you tried turning it on and off again?
Yes, the old tech support trick, right?
Yes, the IT crowd. Have you ever watched that show? Sort of a side note.
No, I don't think I have.
Dude, one of the UK's fucking funniest of shows. That's for another chat. I'll send you some stuff on the interwebs later.
Hell yeah.
Simon the Pie Man. And he says it's Trev's fault.
Everything's Trevor's fault.
Yeah, well. Okay. So Josh has fixed everything.
For now.
Right.
Jeff killed John and all the things.
All working again. Yeah, it's all working until it starts to not work. Anyway, where did I get to? Yes. Okay. So yeah, they released a couple of EPs that sounded a little bit new metal, but I've not listened to them, so I have no idea what they sound like. And then in 2003, Crandall left the band, and Jason James came in to replace him on bass. Shortly after this, the band changed its name to Bullet For My Valentine, as we all know, and they also changed their style to the more familiar sound that we all know what they do. And then they signed for Sony BMG with a UK licensing deal with Visible Noise on a 5-record deal. And in 2004 and 2005, they released 2 EPs that contained tracks that would be included on their debut album. And I've actually got one of them.
Oh, nice.
Debut EP, which has got Hand of Blood and Cries in Vain on it, which did feature on their first album. So that's cool. And then after this, the band would go on to release 7 albums. And apparently number 8 is actually coming out potentially at the end of this year, which would be really cool. 5 EPs, 4 live albums, and go on to sell between 3 and 5 million copies worldwide, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Crazy.
20th year of the Poison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get straight into it. So, yeah, in 2005, they released The Poison. It was actually released on the 14th of February in the United States, which I think is quite ironic because of
I was going to say Valentine's Day for Bullet For My Valentine. Right on.
Yeah, it's a nice Valentine's Day present, isn't it? Yeah. And this one was produced by Colin Richardson, sold 1.6 million copies.
Colin Richardson, mint.
I was going to say he's been on a lot of their stuff. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, a lot of their early stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think who was it? I think it was Ginge was one of the engineer guys that used to work with them quite a bit.
I
don't know his actual name, but everybody just calls him Ginge.
All right. Hopefully
they're playing download this
year.
So where do you have it, Josh? Or like, what do you have? Like,
I've got it at number 1.
Okay. And what's the main parts of that record that you really enjoy?
Honestly, I love the whole thing. I think it's fantastic, this album. Mm-hmm. For me, it's their most complete album. It's probably one of their heaviest albums, especially vocally. I think this album has probably, out of all their albums, got the most amount of like those aggressive scream vocals, which I do enjoy. Some really, really lovely riffs and guitar solos throughout the album. I really like how they sort of incorporate that Iron Maiden sort of melodic harmony stuff throughout the album. And yeah, for me, this has always been my number 1, and I think it always will be my number 1. It's just a fantastic album from start to finish. Yeah, loads of classic songs as well, like 4 Words to Choke Upon and Tears Don't Fall. Yeah, I love the title track as well. Poison is really good as well. Yeah, fantastic album. So yeah, I've got it at number 1.
Yeah, it was for me. It was a toss-up, and we'll come to a little bit more of my explanation on it when we go to the next album. But for me, actually, Poison came in at number 2.
Okay.
Not to say that it was, like bad in any way or anything. I agree with you that like solid track listing. This was the album that introduced most people to the band. Like, of course, when I was going through school and stuff, that kind of melodic metalcore thing, like these guys and Trivium, and that was kind of the main music scene at the time. And for me, that like again, it kind of hits that balance of like there's the super melodic stuff, but then there's also the super like aggro, kind of more heavier side that at the time was kind of scratching both sides of my musical brain.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, one of the things that actually I thought was cool was the actually just the intro build up track that they did with Apocalyptica, and that was kind of my first exposure to that band too, which is another weird thing that I never would have expected to enjoy, but here we are. I liked that. I really liked one of the ones that has consistently lived in my track list anyway, like my playlist from day to day, is actually 10 Years Today. Just the overall groove on that one really kind of hit me pretty hard. And from the deluxe edition track lists, where they included some of the songs from like the EPs and stuff that were kind of released prior to that. And they also, actually, as far as I'm concerned, they do the absolute best cover of Sanitarium by Metallica that I've ever heard in my life. So I think just having it down in D, it just suited the song a lot better, where the original was either an E flat or standard. So just that little bit of extra chunk. It wasn't E flat? Okay.
It was flat, yeah.
Yeah. But I just found that one was great. I guess my main gripe with this album was, while it was produced well, I found there were some gaps in the production. Possibly because they had a few things that were bounced around between different producers during the time that it was recorded. Primarily, yeah, they worked with Colin Richardson, but they also worked with Andy Sneap and a few other guys for some of the yeah. So there were some production gaps in there that I thought was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I found the biggest issue was I found the drums sounded a little bit thin to me. But I mean, like, in comparison to some of the other albums, their drum production scales up from here. Like, it's only gets better as far as I'm concerned. But that's where I'm at. Where'd you put our old Trev?
I actually have it at number 2 as well.
Okay.
Let's make this very clear to those watching and those who are fans of this band. Josh is in his early to mid 20s. Ryan's 33, and I'm 43. Now, I'm coming into all this nonsense later, and I call it nonsense not out of being mean. I don't do the sing scream stuff. I can't do the sing scream stuff. I've tried. That being said, giving it a listen, I can understand the whole point of it's the melodic stuff. I prefer my, metal to be grumpy as shit, because I'm a grumpy old twat. Right, Josh? When it comes down to this whole discography, you can really tell that the songwriting went from one thing to something to shit, then something else. We'll get to that later. Trust me. Yeah. I had the next ranking in my head, and I was going to make us both fucking miserable. But that's okay. We won't, because I'm a nice guy like that. So the Poison, this is a really solid debut. I hear a lot of Machine Head and Metallica in here. It's very prevalent. Mostly because just after listening to all this, I watched that interview with him and Matt Heafy, and I was like, okay, so everything's starting to make more sense now in this fucking thing. There's a lot of moments on here where it sounds great. The Colin Richardson thing makes a lot of sense. Colin's worked with Fear Factory and Cannibal Corpse and fucking all the big bands, because the singing's not horrible here on this record. It's not horrible, but they do get some really soft cleans later on that really just sit here and make me go, why am I listening to this? Oh, that's right, because I committed to it. Again, it's not shitting on Matt Heafy or Tech or any of those cats that do this business. Because remember, I'm an In Flames guy. And you guys have both, if you guys have known me as long as you have, you know I shit on Anders and his fruitcake fucking clean singing because Howard Benson's a douchebag. But again, with this record, and like I said, this whole thing about Colin Richardson, it makes far more sense to me now. I probably could have it at number one, but there's another record that as soon as I heard it, I'm like, oh shit, okay, how is this record supposed to top? And we'll get to that after a bit. And no, it's not fucking Gravity, because bite my ass on that shit. But yeah, number two for me. And so
enough.
far, we're actually pretty well on point with our ranking.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to make
sense. A 1 and a 2 and a 2 is not bad. Definitely not too bad. Right, okay, so next up, 2008. Scream Aim Fire, also produced by Colin Richardson. And yeah, this one did pretty well as well, reaching number 4 on the Billboard and selling over 1.4 million copies. This might be a bit of a surprise, maybe not too much, but well, maybe my reasonings will come into fruition as we go on through this. But I've got this at number 3. And for me, this has always been like an album of two halves. Like the first half is just absolutely amazing, you know, some of the best music that I think they've ever written. But the second half has always been a bit sort of hit and miss for me. I don't know. It's just like the songs in the middle, like "Deliver Us from Evil," "Take It Out on Me," and definitely the last song, "Forever and Always." I think that song is really, really boring, to be honest. It doesn't really go anywhere.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, the first half, as I said, "Scream Aim Fire," "Eye of the Storm," "Waking the Demon," obviously. "Waking the Demon's" my favorite Bullet song ever. It's an absolutely amazing song. "Disappear" is a great song. I really like "End of Days" and "Last to Know." I think them songs are really good. But I think overall, I think the second half is not as strong as the first half, and that is why I've got it slightly lower down than I think most people would have it. But yeah, that's basically it. But still an excellent album and definitely one of their best. So yeah.
Yeah, you see now my kind of conversely, I actually had this as my number 1 pick. Reasoning behind that was I actually kind of knowing a little bit more on the background of the production of the album. Somewhere between the tour for the Poison stuff and going into the studio to record Scream, Matt Tuck had to go through vocal surgery and get his tonsils removed. And there was some potential talk of vocal nodes as well. So the dude basically had to go from full ability to relearning how to talk and then relearning how to sing and scream on top of that. So for me to have him put out such a strong album vocally at like 70-80% capacity, to me, that's like mind-blowing. And that was kind of one of the reasons that I latched onto it as hard as I did, I think, just because like always a champion for the underdog, you know what I mean? And I will agree with you, though, that I think that the album is very much front-loaded with some of the better songs. But I liked on the deluxe edition, I thought that Road to Nowhere and One Good Reason Why were particular standout tracks. But yeah, I just found that this one kind of leaned more into the thrashier stuff, and then they tried to balance it out with like a lot of the more ballady stuff, like, you know, like Say Goodnight and like Forever and Always and like Hearts Burst into Fire and that sort of thing. It kind of like, it was like, I think they were trying a little too hard to do the like Metallica formula, if you will, where they tried to kind of follow in the footsteps of their idols a little too closely. And I think there were a couple of songs, honestly, as much as I love this album, I think there were a couple of songs that could have been, some of the fat could have been trimmed on them. Like Forever and Always was a big one. Like that was like a 7 or 8 minute song. And you could have easily kept that to a nice trim, tight 4 or 5 minutes, and it would have been great.
Yeah.
But vocally, I liked it a lot better. Musically, I thought there was a lot of killer riffs and solos in there. One of the first solos I ended up learning from Bullet was the solo for Scream Aim Fire, just because they had a tab for it in Guitar World one time, and I was like, "Whoop, time to learn this." So I did that, and I thought the production was a lot. I thought the drums particularly sounded a lot fatter on this record. Like you could really hear the air that those kick drums were moving, as opposed to just having like that kind of stereotypical metalcore kind of like, beater kind of clicking into the head thing. So yeah, mix wise, I think this was a significant step up in my opinion.
And you had a where ride number 1?
Numero uno. Actually, I just gave you 2, but yeah, number 1.
Okay. Well, I mean, that makes sense. Now, I have it at 4th.
Okay.
And Josh, you have it at 3rd, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just kind of keeping a tab to kind of see where our brains are at this point. We already know what's 7th, but that's besides the point. So my thoughts on Scream Aim Fire, it's definitely a little more aggressive. Vocally, it sounds way better. Note to self to metalcore bands who have singers who scream, figure out how to do it before you fuck your vocals. But then again, you probably should have learned from Tom Araya, and you would have been better. Yeah. Listen, I know Ryan's probably thinking he's a dink. See? Yeah. No, that being said, it's not easy to scream at all, trust me.
No.
The riffs are gnarlier on this one than the debut, but not to the point of like it's not like a Cannibal Corpse thing. So obviously the progression with this, you can tell, like I said earlier, with each record, they get better, except for another one. That yeah. So the singing clean stuff, obviously, that actually sounds better, only because of the vocal thing that he went through. Again, I'm not a fan of it. You guys, you and I, we all know this. But when it comes down to the guys that can do it, they do it rather well. Definitely an improvement on the songwriting. And I didn't realize that Colin did this one too. And again, I didn't look at the production notes because I know you guys are more of a, you guys would kind of tap into that yourselves.
I also, just on a quick note before I kind of forget about it, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that when Tuck did his vocal rehabilitation, he worked with Melissa Cross.
Yeah, he did actually. Because if memory serves me correct, on the Zen of Screaming, he's in that DVD, like he's in a couple of spots, and you can tell that he's really just every clip that they have of him, he's getting better by the second. Yeah. Which is good. Frankly, any man who's a vocalist needs to go through that course in some way, shape, or form. I know I have, but I also know at the same time that I also fuck up on occasion. Then again, the only screaming I've done is at my kids' hockey games and telling her to shoot, but that's here nor there. But yeah, again, I have this at number 4. So far, we're pretty much on the same page in terms of what's in the top. But yeah, it's a pretty solid record. Not gonna lie.
Awesome. Actually, there's one more thing I was just going to mention, that song "Take It Out on Me." It features that guy Benji from Skin Dread. Yeah, and I remember when I was listening to that song, I was like, "Hang on, who's this guy singing really crap?" And I looked it up, and it was Benji. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think that song would be better if he wasn't on it, to be honest. But yeah,
he also took that course of Melissa Cross.
Did he?
Which he did.
Okay.
Oh,
was that before or after he did that?
I can't even remember when that DVD come out. I know it come out in the early 2000s.
Well, let's find out.
I'm pretty sure. I was gonna say Ryan could probably look it up quicker than I.
Yeah, 2005.
Yeah. Okay. So and this came out when? 2008?
2008, yeah.
Well, there you go, Josh.
Oh, okay. But I just didn't like his vocal.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to.
Well, no, I don't like
clean singing.
No, I don't like skin so that's fine.
Yeah.
But you know, like even Randy Blythe's on that.
Yes. Randy has definitely worked with Melissa.
Yeah.
And so did what's her name there? Angela from Arch Enemy.
Fuck that. Yeah. Don't take me down that fucking rabbit hole, pal. We ain't got time for that shit. This ranking will go to dog fuck with that fucking stupid blonde bitch. Anywho. Don't worry, I'll set the fireworks.
Tell us how you really feel.
Well,
no, I'm not interested. Right?
Yeah.
Pretty soon there'll be a knock on the door.
I don't get the whole Skindred thing, man. Fuck that.
I've never listened to them ever, so I really can't say too much. Of course, my phone.
Don't waste your time.
I mean, then again,
don't even go there.
And again, I like Slayer. So what's that to you? Shut up, Ryan. Yeah, exactly. Moving on to fucking Fever. Oh, excuse me. We all good here, Josh? He's getting slower by the now. You can see.
Yeah.
It's probably Holly trying to cut the fucking internet off of his face.
Okay, so yeah. Go.
Love you.
Jesus.
Well, there's Roy in the chat. What a guy.
What's up, you old fart?
Right? Are we moving on there, Josh, or are you trying to figure your shit out, kid? Yeah.
I think my internet just went.
It died. Yeah, Kim. Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Howard Jones.
Yeah, no, zero notes, zero debate. Conversation's over.
Yeah, fucking Howard Jones. Like, it's a shame that he's not with Killswitch anymore. I think they would be in a completely different place if they still had Howard. But
yeah, but him and Jesse do great things together.
That's true.
Hello there, Raj. I know it's definitely not one of his.
Killswitch's new album that they just brought out was absolutely brilliant.
Bad thing happens when Trev knocks on what I literally knocked on my desk and said that Holly's going to knock on Josh's door and say, "Hey, Skindred's good." Oh shit! Fuck, are we getting Josh? Are you getting to fucking Fever yet or what? The stream's gonna be 7 hours long.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it now.
Trevor's sending everybody hearts now.
That's nice. Just say there's a load of
you gonna start putting more thumbs up in the chat there, you bald fuck?
Don't worry, I'll cue them up for Josh. It's like his favorite part of the streams with me, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, when Trev explodes, that's the.
Oh yeah, that's the best.
That's always the best.
Okay, Fever.
Right, let's get on with Fever. Let's hope. Right, okay. So I thought this was quite ironic, but this album actually released. This album released on my 10th birthday back in 2010. Back
really
then, I would
dating yourself.
not have been. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And this one was produced by Don Gilmore, and it hit the Billboard 200 at number 3. Sold over 600,000 copies. And this one that was actually the first Bullet album that I brought when I first got into the band around 2019, I want to say. I just blind brought it because I listened to a couple of tracks and thought, that sounds good. I'll pick this one up. This might be low for some people. I've got it at number 5. And
Okay.
yeah, it's quite. So I think it's a good album, but I don't think it's as good as the previous two. And honestly, I think they've done other albums later in their career that I like a little bit more than this. However, what I would say is that when I went and listened to this again for doing this video or for doing this ranking, but I actually liked it a lot more than I remembered liking it. I don't know. Maybe it's because it was the first album that I heard, and I kind of just, as I moved on and listened to other albums, I kind of just forgot a little bit about this one. Yeah, I think the songs are pretty good. You know, I really like Your Betrayal, Fever is a good one. The Last Fight, I think in the middle it kind of gets a little bit weaker. With songs like Breaking Out, Breaking Down, and Bittersweet Memories. I like Begging for Mercy. That's a pretty cool song. Quite heavy, that one. But yeah, I think with this one, they started doing the scream vocals less. And I just wish there was a bit more grit on this album, to be honest. That's just my personal thing. But it was close between this and what I do have at fourth place. It's just, you know, I just preferred that one over this one. But yeah, I've got it at fifth.
Yep, I agree. Fifth for me as well. I think my biggest issue was vocally. This felt like a really big step backwards. Because like Matt had he had recovered from his surgery. He was recording with the band. He was doing his thing, and it just feels like he took everything that Melissa taught him and just kind of threw it out the window. And he just started singing like all from his nasal cavity, and it kind of started getting into that really like nasal, almost whiny kind of like Anders Current Clean style singing. And I say this as a fan of the new In Flames material. So, but I think that was my biggest issue, and it just kind of because of that, like all of the even some of the heavier songs felt really kind of like almost kind of watered down and a little out of place for my personal listening. But I think probably the best song on this album for me is a toss-up between Alone and Pretty on the Outside. I really liked that Pretty on the Outside. I think that was a perfect way to close that album. It was just a big kind of a sledgehammer over the head. And I was like, okay, I can respect that. But like, I remember when this came out because this was like my last year of high school. And so yeah, that's the only thing. Sinus infection. Oh god damn it, Zach. Oh man. Yeah, that's my buddy Zach. Anyway.
Oh, cool.
And where was I going with that? Oh yeah. So I remember when this came out. I listened to it with a couple of buddies of mine who liked the band as well. And my friend Jessica says to me, she goes, "When did Nickelback join Bullet for My Valentine?" When she heard the song Fever, she was like, "This literally sounds like something that Chad Kruger would write."
Ooh, gee, Willikers. That's kind of
I was like, ouch.
Well, I have it number 5 as well. So we're all on the same page
right across
as that.
the board.
So fucking 2 stars on that. I love the comment that Holly made that she's like, bloody hell, Josh is making me feel old. I saw Bullet for My Valentine live in 2010 in Florida. Sorry, Josh. We love you dearly. This is similar to Scream Aim Fire, but there are some lower points. It's not horrible, but it's I mean, there's reason why it's number 5. I'm actually kind of surprised. I'm actually kind of surprised that all 3 of us nailed the numbering on that.
What are the chances?
Yeah. Again, it's listen. If you want my honest opinion, if the songs had been any better than Scream, Aim, Fire. It could have been number one looking at that fucking album cover. I mean, hey, listen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at it going, oh, hi, oh, attention. Maybe it's going to be great. Well, not really.
Nope.
At least it's not. At least it's on another one later on. But we'll get to it. Anyways, yeah. So that's it. It's number 5. It's sort of like I said, a slight continuation to Scream, Aim, Fire, but not quite as good.
Yeah.
Hello, Tony. I mean, that makes sense.
And that's all that matters. That's fair enough. Cool. Yeah, we just done for you. Honestly, I was honestly thinking that I might have had it a little bit too low, Fever, but it's kind of weird how it all sort of ended up that we've all put it in the same place. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get on to the next one. So 2013, Temper. With a bit of an odd album art, I can't lie. I don't know what on earth they were thinking when they were doing that. It's weird. So this one was also again produced by Don Gilmore, and this is also their last album to feature Jason on the bass. After this, they told him to. Well, I did see something about that, about him leaving, and they basically just told him that he was out, that he was drinking too much or something like that. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. It's a weird story, but yeah. Honestly, I put this album at number 6. I put it at number 6. I don't think it's a terrible album.
No.
You know, I just think that a lot of the songs on here are on that more on the radio rock kind of sound. Very simplistic. You know, some of the songs haven't even really got a proper like middle section. A lot of the songs just go verse, chorus, a break, chorus, and I'm like, okay. But yeah, I don't know. I do enjoy some of the songs. I think the first song, Breaking Point, is pretty cool. I've always liked Dead to the World. I think that song, it's kind of a little bit like an 80s ballad, especially in the guitar tone. And I've always really liked that song. Riot is pretty cool. That one's probably one of the heaviest songs. I like Living Life on the Edge of a Knife as well. I've always kind of enjoyed that song. Vocals are okay. There's pretty much very little to no screaming on this album as well. And something that I've always kind of thought about this album is why on earth did they have to make a Tears Don't Fall Part 2? That's one of my biggest gripes with this, because it's like, why? It's a little bit like Metallica when they made the Unforgiven 2 and the Unforgiven 3.
I was just thinking
like, hey. Part 2, you leave that the fuck alone, Sunshine.
It's part 3 that's the problem.
Number 3 is actually better than number 1. Still not as good as number 2. Number 2 is the better version. Let's put that in perspective.
Fair enough.
Anywho.
But yeah, I just didn't understand that. I was just thinking maybe they were struggling so hard with this album that they just thought, let's remake our most famous song and, you know, sort of make it like an Unforgiven kind of thing with it. I don't know, but I don't know. The song's not bad. It's just weird that they had to remake Tears Don't Fall. I don't know. It's like, yeah, this album, they kind of went more in the radio rock kind of vein. And one thing I did pick out here, this is, I don't know, you might not know of this, but this is Axe Wound. This features Matt Tuck, and Matt Tuck writes most of this, and it features a couple of Canadian artists. Cancer Bats. It's got the vocalist from Cancer Bats on it.
Yes. Liam rules.
And this came out a year before Temper Temper, and this is a million times better than Temper Temper. I think it's really, really heavy. They play like drop A guitars or some crazy tuning like that, and it's super damn heavy and a lot better than that.
Well, do you know why? Because it's the UK hanging out with Canada, and everything kicks ass when we do that. Just remember, we are still prettier, but that's about it. You guys just have access to more things. That's all. But yeah,
that's
all right. Come on, Ryan. Let's make this fucking. Let's make this 2 out of 2 for the fucking ranking numbers, kid.
Also number 6. Did you put it at 6 too?
Fucking right, bud. 666. Ow!
666. Yeah.
There we go. But yeah, like exactly, like literally, you can sum up this entire record with just butt rock. That's exactly what this album is. It felt very thrown together. It like there were a couple of gems in it. I actually really like POW. I thought that was one of the better tunes on the record, personally. But I found this was where they started kind of drifting away from their more signature formula. There weren't a whole lot of guitar solos. It was all just very kind of slapdash, kind of thrown together. This was also, I could be wrong, but I believe this was the album that basically just Matt and Moose wrote by themselves, and they didn't talk to Padge or Jay at all. It was literally like those two guys in a studio with the producer in like fucking like Jakarta or something, and they wrote it in like 6 months.
Random.
So I remember reading that or hearing that somewhere. It might have been a different album, but either way, like it was primarily Matt doing all of the songwriting here, and you can tell that it's very one-sided. It was the only album that was worse than this to get through, and was Gravity, and that was just because I listened to it on my own time as a one-time thing back when it came out, and it was the worst fucking like hour of my life ever.
Oh, and that's saying the whole thing.
Back when it came out, yeah. I bought it because like I had heard a couple of the singles, and I thought like, maybe it's just the radio singles they're gonna put out. But no, the entire album was just no. That's an hour of my life I'm never getting back.
Don't worry, I'm gonna let it have it. It's coming.
Yeah. But yeah, so with Temper, like I say, it was all right for what it was. It was like there's a couple of good moments on it. Like I said, POW was one of mine. Breaking Point was one. And I did like Leech, actually. I thought that was kind of a little more of an up tempo, almost kind of a double time kind of punkish kind of thing. And I thought some of them were okay, but the rest of it, just like I said, it all felt very flat. It felt very uninspired, and I think that was 100%, like I said, just because primarily of the songwriting on it, where they didn't do like the band bounce back and forth stuff like they used to. That was their biggest kind of shoot themselves in the foot moment for that whole album.
Yeah. So as we've already clearly established, number 6, this is more alt rock metal than metal, and I know that probably makes no fucking sense, but like now that you say that Matt basically wrote the thing pretty much by himself, it's kind of like, okay, why are you not channeling into your heroes? Why are you tapping into sort of this little, as I'm going to call it, sort of bitch fucking songwriting? Like, dude, like he knows he can write better than this. But based on everything I've read and heard, there was a lot of things going on with him and his wife at the time, and there was a lot of shit going on and some drinking and fucking a separation that was looming, as I think, Ryan, you may have told me. And
I think so.
So there was some shit, so he's getting all sappy and fucking weird. The record is mixed well, I'll say that. Everything sounds pretty solid, which is kind of wild considering that basically, this whole Jakarta and this producer, and it was written in like 6 months, and blah 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 blah. I mean, that's cool, but it doesn't stand up. It's very light comparative, and that's pretty much it. Like, I don't have a whole lot of other notes on that really.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think moral of the story here is definitely check out that instead.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, at the very least,
it just makes sense.
Yeah, and the first song, which is the title track, "Vultures," features a really, really nice guitar solo from Sinister Gates, which is
that's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the other little weirdo and the other little weirdo band that I kind of like, but don't. Him I do like. I think.
You can't say he's not a bad guitarist, because you can't say he's a bad guitarist. He's unbelievable.
No.
But yeah.
I was gonna say, and his dad is a fucking wicked session guy too, in his own right.
Who's his father?
Brian Hayner Sr.
Oh, look at him.
Yeah, because like
look at him. He's so adorable in the middle.
Yeah, fucking like Sinister Gates' actual like birth name is Brian Hayner Jr.
Yeah, okay.
So, that was why he even plays music to begin with, is because of his dad. So
yeah,
and one of the things that they do every time Avenged records an album is they'll get Brian's dad to come in and do like a little one-off piece or whatever for each of their albums, which I think is kind of cool. Keeping it in the family.
Agreed. Let's get to the fun one now.
Venom. Venom.
I want to see where you guys have this.
Okay. So I've got it at number 4.
Okay.
Yeah, this one actually they got Colin Richardson back for this one.
Of course they did.
And this is the first album that featured Jamie Mathias on the bass, and the last one to feature Moose on the drums after he left the band. And yeah, as I said, I've got this at number 4 because I really enjoyed this album ever since I got it, and going in chronological order. So going from Temper to this is like a massive step up for me. They bring back the heavy, which I like. They bring back the scream vocals. Honestly, I don't know whether you'll agree with this, but I think this is Matt Tuck's best vocal performance on this album.
Nailed it.
Absolutely fantastic on here. And I know, like, sometimes his vocals, you either like them or you don't, because he sounds a bit whiny and he sounds a bit. But on this, I think he sounds brilliant throughout the whole thing. And they definitely brought back some of the, the Scream Aim Fire kind of thrash sound on here, which I really, really like. And then they kind of mix it with a little bit of the stuff that they were doing on Temper, that sort of more like radio rock metal kind of thing, with songs like Worthless and Venom, the title track. I think those two are probably my least favorite songs on this album, because I think they're a little bit more on the kind of the radio friendly side. But yes, songs like No Way Out, Army of Noise, Broken, Skin, Pariah, brilliant songs, and an album that I go back to quite often, actually, more than most of their albums, because I just think it's a really fun album. And yeah, I've always enjoyed it. So yeah, I've got it number 4.
Yeah. Not far off from me, actually. I had it at number 3. I think you nailed it where you said, like, it's kind of the best hybrid of everything that they've done up to that point. Had a little bit more of that kind of more metalcore kind of thrash mixed in with a little bit more kind of radio friendly commercialism, if you want to, be blunt with it. But 100% agreed. Matt's vocals on this one were kind of top tier. I remember they put out one of the bonus tracks as like a single ahead of the album. It was Raising Hell, and when they started doing that, I was like, okay, so Bullet's kind of going back into left field here. So I was like, okay. And yeah, I think this is outside of like the first like 2 albums, I think this is probably like peak Bullet for my listening anyway. I really liked I think it was on Venom where they had that verse with like the clean delayed almost like Buckethead kind of style guitar riff going on. That was kind of something different for them, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. I kind of reminded me of like that Buckethead song Big Sur Moon or whatever it's called. So yeah, like I like that. They started getting into a little bit more kind of textural writing, which I appreciated. But it wasn't like to a like a detractor. It was actually done pretty tastefully, I think. And what was it? Because and yeah, the other thing I was looking at, I was just looking at Wikipedia while we were talking here too. They actually this one goes back to the writing formula of multiple writers on the songs. All the lyrics and vocals were done by Tuck, but everything musically was written by Tuck, Padge, and Moose. So they had like the core songwriting team back at that point. So I think that was one of the bigger strengths of the album for sure.
Yep. Josh, make me big, dog. Just for a quick sec. Because I got to cue it up.
All right.
Okay, back to square one. So that's what I think of this record. This is my number one. This is what I call this is what I call fucking big dick energy. Like when we're talking like fucking drop the drawers, it's out, let's go. This thing starts off with this fucking scream that would embarrass most guys today. Pure chuggathon. The only 2 songs on this record that I really didn't like nearly as much was Skin and I think it's Skin in Hell and High Water?
Hell or High Water.
Or Hell or yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So those 2 songs, I mean, they're not the worst, but No Way Out, Army of Noise, the title track, the rest of it's killer. When I want to hear fucking metalcore, this is what I want. I want everybody else to stop fucking going on with this fucking whiny, singing bullshit. No one cares. I don't want to hear it. Give me Chugfest. That's what I want. I want Chugfest. I want absolute fucking... I just want all the harshness. I want all the nastiness. And this is why this is my number one. The production is fabulous. The mix is fucking perfect. Matt sounds like he's pissed at fucking Paget for drinking all his beer or some dumb shit. He's just... Everything sounds fucking flawless. And who did you say produced that record?
Colin Richardson.
Fuck, what a fucking shock. If you have Colin Richardson, stick with Colin Richardson. This is not difficult. You find a producer and you stick with them. Cannibal Corpse, that's why they sound better than most death metal bands. Haha. Mind you, they have switched over time. Fucking stick to a good producer. In Flames, fire Howard Benson before I punch all 5 of you sweet cocksuckers in the fucking nose, except for Chris Broder, because you're an American. Punch. Stop it. Just... And then the worst part is they're going to follow it up with this fucking nonsensical pile of bullshit, which, you know, fuck me. That's just... Anyways, I'll get to that. But yeah, no, this is fucking excellent. This record rips. Like it's the only one that I could go back and listen to and be like, yeah, all right, let's go. It's like Matt and the boys were like, oh, let's go listen to Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, Pete Cells, and fucking whatever machine and the Blackening from Machine Head. And we go, there's our record, boys. We're gonna sound great now,
right?
Yeah.
Then Matt decided to get. Then Matt turned into a bitch and decided to listen to Deadmau5 for about fucking 6 weeks, and then I'm gonna write this kind of fucking pretty record.
Oh god, we're gonna get onto that. Yeah, I do have the deluxe edition. This is the deluxe edition with the extra bonus tracks.
Yeah.
Even all the bonus tracks are great on here as well.
Mm.
Yeah,
I think the
Right.
only album
Here
that
we
I've
go.
ever listened to that had bonus tracks that I thought should have been main tracks aside from Venom was Shogun. The B-sides that they had for Shogun were fucking killer. Those should have been main tracks as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But then again, you're also talking to the guy who is like the, so far up Matt Hafey's rhythm guitar playing ass that,
It's like a slight extension.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I say, my rhythm guitar guys are always Hafey and Hetfield. So, and given that Hetfield is one of Hafey's influences, that tracks.
Yeah. So,
Okay. So now that I've gushed and jizzed my pants, let's fucking talk about this fucking thing.
So I'm just gonna take a prediction here and say that all of us have this album at number 7.
Mm-hmm. Josh.
Well, I mean, just to add more jeopardy here, my last 2 spots are last and second.
I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Because, dipsticks.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right, okay, yeah. Let's get into it then. Gravity, 2018. This album was produced by Cole Brown, and their first album on Spine Farm Records. And this album was the first to feature Jamie Mathias actually contributing music, and the first album to feature Jason Bold on the drums. And ironically, I didn't even know this. It was only when I was looking it up. He was actually on that Axe Wound album as well. That drummer.
That's how he got the Bullet gig, was because Matt knew him from that.
Yeah.
Who was on drums?
Jason Bold.
Bold.
For a sec, I thought you said Jason Bittner, and then I was going to fly to wherever he is and punch him in the fucking nose. Good God. I was like, tell me he didn't just say Jason Bittner, because I was going to have a stroke.
No, dude. Speaking of Bittner,
Jason
I'm looking
Bold.
forward to hear the new Shadows Fall material.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Ooh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Josh. Squirrel.
No.
I do.
So, yeah. Where was I? Yeah. Quite ironically, this album is their only album to not reach number 1 on the rock and metal chart.
For good fucking reason.
Quite ironic.
No. Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it is absolute shit. This album. You'll be pleased to know I've got it last. Yeah.
So look at that. We have
this
3
album
records.
Sucks.
All the same.
Honestly, when I was listening to it, I actually hadn't listened to it. I actually hadn't listened to it before doing this ranking, and I think there's a reason why I kept putting it off, not listening to it, because it's bad. It is bad. To me, this is the best way I could describe it. It's like Bring Me the Horizon and Coldplay got together and made an album, and then
you're in trouble now.
Got like some weird like shit on top.
Yeah.
And that might now. Even not even be. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand what they were thinking with this album.
They weren't.
There's hardly even any guitars in it. I mean, there's hardly even any guitars in it. Like there's like 10 seconds of a heavy riff, and then that's it in a song. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't think. Honestly, I think this is like comparable to their Saint Anger.
No,
Saint Anger is better than that.
1,000 times better, pal. Jesus, Murphy. I love you.
No, but everyone hates Saint Anger the same as probably they hate this. That's what I was getting there. I agree. I think Saint Anger is better than this.
Okay, that's fair. Gotcha.
It would be like their equivalent in a way.
Yeah.
Listen, man. After the Sabbath ranking, I got to keep my fucking eye on you, pal. I mean, I'm just saying.
Oh man, yeah. Obviously, like I said, yeah, 7. Like this album was absolutely horrendous. I also just looked at it just because I was curious. Because again, I've been following along on Wikipedia for different track just to keep my own head straight. Sometimes they did a cover of Radioactive on the deluxe edition, so I was just like, "You're covering modern Nickelback effectively." I was like, "Imagine Dragon the cover for Bullet for My Valentine." Really?
What?
Hold on. Thanks, Zach. That puts it out there, buddy. Yep.
Yeah.
But just the thing that I hated so much about this was it felt like one continuous track. When I listened to it, that one time, it literally just felt like there were no stops and starts. It was all just one giant monotonous drone of an album, and it was such a slog to get through. That I kid you not, I have never done this to an album before this. I literally went and I threw that thing in the garbage can because I was like, that was $20 down the tubes. I was like, I'm not getting that money back, and nobody else is going to buy this, so this goes right in the bin where it belongs.
So, yeah. You guys listen to it. My note says, fuck off, big capital L, capital O, capital L. That's all my notes. I'm not kidding you. See if I can pull this off and you guys can see it. Fuck off. That is legitimately it. Fuck off. You guys listen to the whole record. Ryan, I'm not kidding you when I told you that I listened to it for 50 seconds of the first song and said no. I immediately took it off of my phone and almost burned my phone on contact. Lulu's better than this. Saint Anger's better than this. Radiohead's Creep, the song, is better than this, and I would rather send those cocksuckers to fucking hell for that goddamn pile of bullshit. Any piss poor Black Sabbath record is better than this. Let's see, fucking AC/DC's worst record is better than this. Anything Metallica that put out is shit is better than this. Megadeth's worst records are better than this. Let's see, fucking Anthrax's worst records are better than this. Diabolus in Musica by fucking Slayer is 1,000% times better than this pile of shit. Who decides to take a record like Venom with the biggest wang fucking energy on the planet, where it's just pure chugs, screams, and sexy time, and then I get it. You're going through a separation. Jesus Christ! If I was going through a separation, trust me, I'm gonna make the nastiest, most vile fucking record possible. Like I'm talking like vile, like Cannibal Vile, okay? Not this piss ass fucking dead mouse bullshit. Why? Like I would like to look at Matt Tuck and go, explain yourself. And you got about 10 seconds to do so before I punch you repeatedly until my fucking hand hurts, okay? There's so much bad with this record, and I only got 50 seconds in. No, I'm like, you're laughing, but I'm dead serious. I listened to it for 50 fucking seconds and said no. And I literally, like the bass player, yeah, you probably shouldn't, and then watch your brain explode. I would rather listen to Dom Day Mysterious by fucking Mayhem on repeat for 7 weeks straight than listen to that pile of shit. And that's a big pile of dog shit too. Ryan, if you want to make yourself miserable, son, I swear, put on Dom Day Mysterious by Mayhem. Worst dog shit vocals I've ever heard.
God.
Oh. And this is the thing, like, people are probably going, like, he's pretty pissed. Yeah, because they listened to 50 seconds of this. I'm not kidding you. 50 seconds.
I think that's the mind-boggling. It's like 50 seconds. Nope, if this is what this record is, I'm out.
No, straight up. And everybody warned me. They go, no, it's bad. I'm like, no, it can't be that bad. No, it's.
Yep. I'm pretty sure that I literally told you that. I was like, don't waste your time with the record. And you were just like, nah, I'm going to give it up. Wait, no, that was bad.
No, well, you're committed to a ranking. You got to make sure you got to listen to it. No.
Yeah.
And it was funny because our bass player Andrew Rolls, like, he said, how bad is it? And I listed off every possible bad record in history. And I said I would listen to that as a playlist on repeat for the next 5 years, be completely miserable, and still be happy, other than listening to any more than 50 seconds of that record. And he goes, holy shit, dude. Are you okay? I'm like, no, I think I might have had 10 heart attacks and a stroke.
But the real question is, did it drive you to drink?
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. I don't want to go through that again. I thought about running down and just putting it to me to hope for the fucking best, but no.
Oh wow!
And I was saying this all this to him at work, and he's looking at me, and I could see his smile growing by the second. And there was 2 other coworkers watching me sort of in the distance, and they could see my face going from this to like fucking, this, that, like that red and darker, like they said, they literally can. They said it's like a crayon. It's a light shade, and then it gets more mean by the second. And I'm just like, and like, when you're talking so fast that things start to kind of tighten up vocally. Yeah. Andrew goes, dude, come here for a minute. He walks over and checks my pulse, and he's like, you just need to sit down and just not talk anymore. Because he's like, I'm kind of nervous. Blood pressure might be a little too high. Mind you. And again, for those watching this madness, 50 seconds. Not 15, not the whole record. 50 seconds is all I got. And that's the kind of shit. Why? I'm telling you, because Josh, I said to Ryan, I said, you're about this close, buddy, to fucking listening to a whole bunch of Slayer. Keep it up. And I know.
Hey, you know what? At least it was only one bad album out of the 7. At least the others had some redeeming qualities.
It's just.
Yeah, this one's pretty bad. I mean, to be fair, there's a song towards the end of the album called Don't Need You, and I actually think that song's not bad. I think it's actually a pretty decent song. But I'm just thinking, I don't know why they didn't start with that song, because that song, at least it actually had a bit of energy and some actual heavy guitars in it.
The reason they put it at the end was so that you'd suffer through it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't understand why they did that, but yeah, I think it's quite ironic because I haven't got that album, and to quote that song, I don't need you in my collection. I'm more than happy to just not own that album. I do not need it at all. But yeah, that's that. Let's move on now to the last album.
Before we do, Ryan, this is where Canadians differ from the UK. Mm-hmm. A Canadian can go on this most epic rant of all time after listening to 50 seconds of a song, and Josh goes, there's one song on it. It's not bad. I mean, there's always some sort of silver lining to after a fiery rant like that.
Yeah,
I love you.
I always see the positive. I always see the positive. Actually, to be fair, there's another song on there that's actually not that bad, but
yeah, no. I mean, you listened to it. I didn't.
Yeah, well, I would agree with that. Don't Need You was probably the only like halfway redeemable song on that album. Everything else was complete dog shit.
Kind of makes me want to go out and buy all the Motley Crue discography.
Why you want to be kicking my dogs and give me a dong, whatever Vince is singing these days.
I'd rather listen to their self-titled. That's a great record without Vince on vocals.
They did a record without Vince?
Oh buddy. We'll talk about that here after the stream. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's get to the self-titled before Trevor goes on all fucking squirrely again.
Again?
I mean, I've got a couple in me.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
Josh, you said you had this in number 2, right? Yeah, this would be your number 2.
Yeah. I've got it at number 2, self-titled. This one came out in November 2021, and it was produced again by Carl Brown. And this one, ironically, returned to number 1 in the rock and metal charts because this album is brilliant. The contrast between this and the last album, it's like chalk and cheese. It's just crazy. Maybe they realised that they fucked up basically with the last one and thought we need to go back and do what we do best, and that is exactly what they do with this album. It is absolutely brilliant. It is, they bring back the heavy, thrashy stuff. There's a couple more melodic tracks in the middle that, to be honest, I think in the middle is the weakest part of the album, with strong songs like Bastards and Rainbow Veins. But it starts and ends super strong, this album, with Parasite, Knives, My Reverie, No Happy Ever After, and then ends with Paralyzed and Death by a Thousand Cuts. Just absolutely brutal, heavy stuff. I really love it. It goes back to that old sound that I like personally, more heavy. I'm really hoping that their new album, whenever it comes out, will sound a bit more like this. I'm hoping. Yeah. Definitely, hopefully not like Cat Gravity again.
Well, he's been hanging out with Hickey a lot, so I mean, it can't be horrible. And if it is, well, the fans will let him know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had this at
4.
I had this at number 4. Yeah. So, I think for me, Venom edged it out just a tiny little bit. Kind of like what you were saying, where it's just like they were just on all cylinders, and it was just kind of ready to rock and roll. I think this one definitely, again, like because of the drastic style shift after the shit show that was Gravity, the songs hit a lot harder. I think it was actually either this album or might have been Gravity where they went and normally the band was in drop C and like D standard, but since then they've gone down to B. So, and I think that kind of gave it a little extra snarl. Because I remember seeing it was like one of those Kerrang videos with talking to different guitar players or whatever, and they asked Padge from the band, they asked him like what his favorite riffs were, and he said the one that he was really vibing on was that main verse riff for Knives. He says it's just very kind of like simple, almost kind of like Pantera Walk style riffing, where it's just like 1 or 2 notes, but you play it with a lot of aggression and a lot of kind of stank, and it kind of does the thing. I think one of my favorite standout moments from this one was actually Shatter, track 8, where it just fades in and it's just like Matt's like super aggressive screamed vocals, and then it's just like, and then no count off, no nothing, just bam in on the downbeat, and I was like, now you're talking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Like this album absolutely fucking slaps. And like I said, number 4 for me. Didn't edge out some of the more like classic stuff, but I think this is a good direction. And yeah, if they kind of do something in this vein, or maybe more kind of Poison, Scream, Aim, Fire era for the next album, I think that'll be a super good, solid 1-2 punch. And then that'll be like, okay, Bullet's going to be back on top where they're at least of the metalcore world. So
yeah.
Kat, what are you doing?
Kitty cat.
Can't really see him because I've got it blurred, but there's a little fur ball there.
I can see him. He's there. I had this at 3. Again, back to a more normal form for these guys. Clearly, after the last pile of rotten dog shit that they put out, they had no choice to go back to the original, because if they had to put out something similar to the previous one, every fucking one of their fans would have said, "Nope, we're out. Thanks for coming and have a great day." This is great. It's mixed well. Production sounds fantastic. It's polished, but not polished to be polished, because, yeah, if that makes sense. The lower tuning, very smart. and not just to be not low to be low because everybody else is doing it, but I find it makes them darker, and I like that. I like when these guys sound darker because for me it's like, okay, what are you singing about? What's the scoop here? And like Ryan said about Knives, where it's got that sort of simplistic walk kind of feel, fantastic. Don't make things so techy just because you want to be technical. Leave that for the tech death bands and the fucking techies thrash bands. Metalcore is supposed to be simple, not fucking chaos and not fucking all over the place playing 1,000 notes a minute or 18 different chord changes in like 37 seconds. Just big hammering riffs. Big, if you want to make the chorus all about the cleans, great, do that. Because if you do it right and it sounds good, then you're gonna not have a problem. Just don't listen to Deadmau5 for like 6 weeks and you'll be fine. This is fantastic. This is probably one of Matt's better vocal performances. Other than Venom, because, well, hello, big dick energy. That's the big thing that I like about this band, is that the three of us, all different ages, and we can all agree on 3 records for sure. We can all agree that one record is so bad it's not even funny, and we can pretty much agree that the other 4 records are pretty stellar in different spots. But the band is solid. They've been solid their whole career, other than one. Every band's got that one. That's just fuck. Yeah. That one just happens to be a lot worse than anything I've ever heard. So yeah. That being said, I thought this was a solid discography. Everything was great, except that one. But yeah, we already went down that rabbit hole. I don't need to go down there again. Yeah. My voice is getting a little dry, and I'm starting to cry. Yeah, man. I hope that they can. Josh probably shit the bed again. I hope that they can put out their 8th record and it sounds similar to anywhere from Venom or the first 2, like you say. Just because I think that'll definitely bring the fans back into where they need to be, instead of fucking gone somewhere else because another one.
Yeah. Exactly. I think when you try to kind of oversimplify the recipes, that's when everything gets like way far out in the weeds, and like, because like kind of like what you were talking about, where it's just like meat, potato, simple, right?
Yeah.
Like if you look at a lot of the riffs and stuff from those first like 3-4 albums, there we go, Joshy's back. But like we look at those and like there's just like a simplistic quality to them, that the riffs themselves act like an earworm, where with a lot of the more modern stuff, they're kind of leaning as more of the vocal hooks. But I think that really the last, like with Venom and with like the self-titled, they kind of got back to that like hybrid of, okay, there's going to be some vocal hooks in here for sure, but then there's also going to be some riffs that you'll walk out of listening to the album kind of having stuck in your head for a little bit. Like No Way Out, like that little kind of that open string kind of that standard metalcore kind of 8 and 10 12 kind of thing, like killer. And you'll remember that stuff. You're not going to remember those crazy ambient delays or whatever from fucking whatever bullshit Gravity was.
Yeah.
It's like, how can we make metalcore into U2?
That's actually a disgrace to fucking U2.
Because you're also talking to a guy who can't stand U2, so I mean,
Nor can I. There's one song that they ever did that was great, and it was a cover of a John Lennon song. So what the fuck's that tell you?
Really?
Yeah. Oh my god. It's right there, and I can't think of it. Oh, that's terrible. Anyways, I'll figure it out after and fucking send it along. And again, surprisingly, it's good, but. I mean, again, I would rather listen to all of U2 than fucking listen to that nonsense again.
Right.
Like, boys, I'll say one thing. I'll commend you. You guys are hardcore fans because you can listen to that. And I couldn't. Just no. I mean, and I haven't even listened to all of fucking Lulu, and I'll still tell you it's better. Only because, fucking Hetfield goes, I am the table. Still rather listen to that than fucking whatever that horse garbage was. But yeah, like just fucking Simon, I'm disappointed, Trev. Yeah, well, fucking listen, Simon, go listen to that fucking record and tell me how you make out with it. Fucking hell.
Jeez.
But yeah, there's a so Kim agrees with the self-titled Motley Crue thing. It rips. There's all sorts of riffs. Like there's nasty riffs in there. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Motley Crue sounds good. How dare they? Because Vince is not there.
As far as I'm concerned, it's no longer Crue anyway, since they kicked out Mick Mars. But
well, I just feel bad for John 5. But
yeah, that dude's way too talented to be playing that dumb caveman shit.
You do realize he was with fucking Rob Zombie, right?
Yes,
and Marilyn Manson.
That's where he got his start for sure. But you look at what that guy does for his solo shit. He's got more guitar wizardry in his fucking pinky than I've got in my whole goddamn brain.
He plays banjo chords on guitar for something to do.
Yeah, he's just because the music he's been playing has just been so simple. But actually, on that note though, I'm not a huge Manson fan, and I'm not a huge Zombie fan. Like I'll listen to them if they're on, but I don't go out of my way to listen to them.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing an interview with John where he was talking about some like little hidden gems on some of the stuff that he's recorded over the years. And one of the things that he brought up was there's this really subtle little thing in Fight Song by Manson that whoever covers it gets right. And so he's like, it's time for me to show you what I'm actually doing because y'all are fucking this up and making me look bad.
Yeah. John's great. The bands he's been in not.
Yeah. I was gonna say, John, like on his own, is basically like if Zakk Wylde and Marty Friedman had a baby.
That's a weird baby,
right?
Like that is a weird baby, but it makes sense.
That sounds good.
Yeah. But yeah,
because I love my Friedman stuff.
The guy has his wrist bent in such a way that it makes no sense for a wrist to be bent.
Yeah, it's the flipper pick.
Yeah, and even Zakk Wylde does that too a little bit, so maybe it all makes sense. I don't fucking know.
Zack's a weird player in his own right, but
yeah.
And look at that, we got a
Gravity.
I was gonna say, and look at that, we actually got a stream done in under 3 hours. We got an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Short discographies, it helps.
That's because I only kept the rant to a small amount.
That'll do it.
Oh god, yeah. Oh, the rant could have gone on forever. I'll tell you. Actually, speaking of rants, now if we did talk about that Architects album, that would probably spark a few rants because I've seen a couple of reviews for that and it wouldn't be up my street, to be honest.
I listened to bits and pieces of the Architects, but they're not my thing.
You know what? Hot take or sort of odd random thing out of me. It's not my thing either. I don't mind it. From a musical standpoint, I don't mind it. You know what I mean? Like that to me, that's a lot better than, the other thing.
Trev ain't finished. Oh, we could let him go for hours.
I have to pull it back, Simon, because like if I go too hard too quick, it's just But Josh, there is one discography I would listen to over Gravity any day, and that's 6 Feet Under with Chris Barnes. Barnes.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
I mean,
wow.
Nightmares of the Decomposed, man. Put it on. I guarantee it'll blow the doors off a fucking thing. Anything Gravity was. Man, oh man, oh man.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know we haven't actually like privately talked about it yet, but I know me and Trev have kind of thrown some ideas around about what we should do for the next ranking, and we were both kind of, him and I were joking about it, where it's like you and I kind of dominated these last two with Trivium and Bullet, and we were like, we should probably let the old fart pick one, and the first thing that came out of his mouth was, let's do fucking In Flames, and I'm like, I'm down.
Mm-hmm.
And now I kind of don't want to do it because I want to put you guys through a little bit of torture, since I had to go through 50 seconds of torture. I mean, we can do it. We can do it. I think it might take a lot longer for me to do because I haven't fucking listened to In Flames in like forever now because I've been listening to fucking anything else. Yeah, so I get to pick. Leave it with me. Don't worry, I won't make you that fucking miserable.
I swear to God, though,
I really could just pick a Doom band. Fuck, we should just do Pentagram, seeing as fucking Bobby Liebling is all over the fucking internet now.
Oh yeah.
At least Pentagram's not that dreadful, but I think they have like fucking 8,000 records, I think. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, that was the thing, is I asked Ryan, I said, what do you not want to do? And he's like, bands with fucking discographies that are like fucking 8,000 years, 8,000 deep. So,
well, actually, I'm just curious here. I'm just gonna Wikipedia. What do we got?
Well, same here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They've only got 8, or actually 9.
Well, keep in mind too that it's pretty spread out if you think of it.
Yeah.
Like if you notice. So there's 80. Yeah, it's 85, 87, 94, 99, 01, 04, 2011. Because Bobby was all fucked up on every drug known to man.
Right.
2015, and then Lightning in a Bottle, which is coming out on Heavy Psych Records this year. The thing about them is that you really have to sort of understand Pentagram as a whole. Is you got to listen to like Captain Beefheart. I think another one is Something Beyond. Like a lot of the old 70s bands. Like there's a fair amount of there's a fair decent amount of guitar work in there. Some slow songs so that Josh can just sit there and cry and be miserable for like fucking the whole listening experience, because he doesn't like Doom, and that makes me giggle because I had to listen to 50 seconds of shit. So you guys have to listen to fucking a whole discography of something else. Have you seen that, Josh? Like, have you seen that clip of Bobby Liebling? Like where the old guy's sitting on stage and his hair's wisping in the wind, and he's just like,
he just looks literally so fucking out of it.
Bobby should have been the biggest rock star on the planet, but never was. It just
Lord.
They've been around since the 70s, and fucking like, yeah, because like one of the singles and EPs started in 72, even though their first record didn't hit until 85. But Bobby's an odd duck, man. Like, he's an odd duck. Like, they had this big record deal set up with Columbia at one point, and then because he wanted to redo a few different takes on whatever they were getting ready to release, and he threw a big hissy fit, because, frontmen. They didn't get signed with Columbia, and it was just like, if you look at their Wikipedia, it's almost like a fucking history lesson of every single label and fucking everything that they've been a part of. It's pretty funny. Pretty funny. But they had some weird ass tunings too.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. If you take a minute, go to I think if you go watch Steve Rice video, the Does It Doom guy, he kind of talks about some of their tunings, and it's like, I think it's like there was like a sort of like a weird double drop B. Oh yeah, it's like the weirdest fucking thing, man. Like Pentagram was odd.
Okay.
I mean, if you've seen that video enough, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That fucking.
I mean, like I say, buddy, he looks like he's on something for sure.
No, he's not even on. He's clean. He's fucking cleaner than he's cleaner than I am, for fuck's sakes. And I'm not even kidding. Like this dude is, but that's his stage aura. But if you go back and watch videos from the 80s, like that, he was doing it back then. There was no social media for him to go fucking viral. And now he's just loving it. He's like, I'm just going to start sharing these in all my stories. This is great. Hee-haw. But yeah. So yeah,
Right on.
that's entertainment at its finest, fellas. Entertainment at its finest. No, Simon, I'm not listening to Dark Throne. Go fuck yourself. A Mayhem ranking. No, fuck yourself. Absolutely not. Just looking, I'm just going through some of these comments here now. Absolutely fucking Suffocation or Nile. So we're gonna get Ryan to listen to fucking Egyptian death metal. Yeah, okay, that's gonna last about 8 seconds before he goes, fuck this shit.
Oh, dude, I've seen some of the Nile stuff. It's interesting, but
like it's
I was gonna say, yeah,
like,
you can sum up Suffocation and Nile in one thing, and it's blast beats.
Caveman. That's why I like it. Caveman. It's stupid. It makes no sense to anybody except guys with my brain.
Yeah,
Ooga,
I've
booga.
seen. I saw. I think it was on that Roadrunner United DVD that they did back in like 2005 or 6 or whenever that was. And they had the drummer for Suffocation on a track with Matt Hafey, and literally the guy's in the studio, and he's just like, literally, he's like, okay, you want me some? He's like, you want some blast beats on this? And he's like, yes, please. And the guy was like, yeah, but he's like, he's like, you don't. He's like, nobody blasts properly. He's like, it's all just snare and bass, but he's like, you lose your hats. He's like, you really got to spank the hats if you're blasting.
And like the funny thing is, like all of these guys who listen to slam death metal or deathcore, you owe every ounce of your being to listen to Liege of Inverosity off the first record, Effigy of the Forgotten. Listen to that breakdown. Everybody who listens to that, you owe them a thank you, and you owe them a fucking let me hug you and hold you and touch you and shit. Because like honestly, if it wasn't for Suffocation, half of these fucking deathcore bands wouldn't be around. I'll tell you right fucking now.
Napalm Death would be a good all-nighter.
All-nighter? What do you mean? It's only going to take about 45 fucking minutes if you guys listen to their shit. Fucking, I mean, shortest song in history is 2 seconds.
Yeah. You suffer a lot.
I actually played that song for Neely, and she's like, "What was that?" I'm like, "That's the shortest song," and she's like, "Play it again." And she goes, "That's funny." So then I brought up a live version, and Neely's like, "What's wrong with the singer?" I'm like, "It's Barney. He's just tripping balls." Wait, Barney? She goes, "The dinosaur?" I'm like, no, but he sort of sounds like sounds like Barney if Barney was drunk. But it was just, and she's every so often I'll put it on. She goes, "I love that stupid stuff."
Her mind early on, attaboy.
Well, like I said, boy, she's mine. I couldn't even. I could take a DNA test and say everybody goes. I would just say, "Nah, she's not mine," and they'd be like, "You're full of shit. Just look at her." Yeah.
We used to play You Suffer as our encore.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't you? Fucking Opeth has been doing it live for I don't know how long. God, Michael fucking Ackerfeld, he goes on like this little bit of a tangent talking about how Napalm Death is his influence, and he goes, "You suffer," and then it's over. I'm like, I love how you make the speech like 10 minutes long and the song like 2 notes and it's over.
Yeah.
Now I have thought about Opeth as a ranking. Josh, I don't know. Are you into them or no?
Yeah, I do like them. I've just not listened to them that much.
Nor have I, in fairness. But I think you should definitely do some sort of fucking bigger sort of crazy band where everybody has to like listen to it like either for the first time or you know what I mean? Like maybe what I'll do is I'll sit there and I'll think about it for a little while. Because we don't need to rush back into another one. Especially with schedules being all weird, Ryan.
Okay. Well, excuse me.
I know. Yeah, they've got a few records themselves too.
Yeah, I think Opeth is in the double digits, aren't they?
About
14,
I think.
Something like that.
I'm just bringing it up here now. Yeah, so 14 studio records.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've listened to about two.
See, I forget that. Right, like I forget that they've got that many records out.
Yeah,
but
honestly,
I'm sure.
Yeah, the only real song that I remember hearing from Opeth is, I believe, the Grand Conjuration. So, like, I'd be going into that 100% blind.
Yeah, and I mean, the only thing that I really listened to is a couple tracks off of Ghost Perdition and a couple off of Blackwater Park. Seeing as Blackwater Park seems to be the record that everybody goes bananas for.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe it might be something for us to try. If 14's too much, then we can kind of nix it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's a discography that we should look at in terms of number wise? Because rather than fucking spending 2 months trying to listen to everything, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I find is the hardest part about picking a band.
Yeah.
So what do we want to do? Do we want to cut it off at under 10?
I would say, at least for me, just to be able to, like, I don't mind doing like a bigger discography, maybe as like if there's like an anniversary of a big album coming up or something that's like really pivotal, like for a band, like, I don't know, like we'll say like Sad Wings of Destiny by Priest or something. Like, if that anniversary comes up or whatever, like I wouldn't mind doing a bigger band for like an anniversary for something big like that. But for just like these general streams, I would say probably, like, if we can keep it like right around 10, like if it's a little bit plus or minus, I'm fine with that. Obviously we can adjust timeframes depending on how big the discography is.
And like, that's the thing too, because I don't want to make everybody miserable. Like, I mean, I know Rye's not too fussed about certain subgenres, but like, I know Josh is just a non-doom guy at all. Now, is there one that you would prefer to stay away? Because I mean, I'm not going to get you to listen to Funeral Doom. I mean, I can't even listen to Funeral Doom, and I love doom metal as a whole. But like, is there something where you're just like, no, I can't listen to it because fucking how bad it is? Is there, like, you know what I mean? Like, do you want to stay away from something specific or no? Because I'd be okay with doing like just about anything. Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm not listening to Gravity Kids, so don't ask.
I'm noticing a theme here.
Well, just saying.
Yeah.
Oh yes. I think Kim might have just made the point. Symbolic is the 30th anniversary for Death.
Yeah, that could be a good one.
Albums that, yeah, we could.
Yeah,
because there's only 7 albums there.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
And yeah, and did you see that they're re-releasing that on vinyl?
Are they? Finally?
Yeah, Road Record finally took their fucking shit thumb out of their ass and said, "Oh, better re-release it because it's 30th anniversary." Yeah, just give it to just give it to Relapse, you fucking pricks. See? Yeah, exactly. That's right. All right.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, no, like I think that would be great. I haven't listened to the I haven't listened to the Death. I haven't. How many records did they
create?
Let's find out.
I know they have a bad. I know they have a record or two that's not that great.
4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 for Creator.
Fucking hell. I mean, they're fast, so it's not like we're gonna be spending fucking 12 hours listening to one fucking song.
Yeah.
I have the best thing that we should do. Sleep, Dope Smoker. Everybody, your homework. Just go listen to that for an hour. I'm kidding. Tee-hee. Creator would be horrible. But I think we should do Death for sure. I think Death should be the next one that we do. And then, like, let's take our time with it. Ryan, I know you've said you've listened to a little bit of it.
Yeah, I've heard like bits and pieces. I remember I've heard like kind of the more, like, I guess, pivotal Death tunes, like, like Pull the Plug and like that sort of thing.
Yep.
But I've never actually like listened to an album like top to bottom. I know actually Bill really likes Death too, so I might see if he wants to sit in on that one with us.
Wait till you get to this. your brain is going to short circuit so fucking much. You wait. Paul Masvidal, Steve DiGiorgio, Sean Reiner, and Chuck.
Oh yeah, I forgot Steve was in that before he went over to Testament.
Yeah, Steve was on a lot of death records. You know how you like all these like sort of like, you know, finger plucking or, you know, the chicken picking kind of guitar, you like the fun stuff?
Yeah.
Wait till you listen to that. This here is just going to stop working the entire time you listen. I'm not even kidding. It's just the guitar work is so fucking lush. It's perfect.
Interesting.
And I'm telling you, when you listen the first time, try to rank it. Just try. I dare you. Because there are a lot of guys that have listened to that and they go, I can't rank this fucking thing. I struggled the first time. I did it. And now that I'm going to redo it again with a couple of cats, it's going to be, there's not going to be any hate. It's just all going to be like, tripping through the daisies and everybody being happy the whole fucking time. But it's going to be one of these things where, okay, well, I guess we're going to put a number on this thing. How are we going to do it? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you'll just
well, I think definitely the whole symbolic 30th anniversary, I think that's 100% nailed it in for our next one. But yeah, as to when it'll happen, we'll have to wait and see. Admittedly, my schedule is going to be the biggest variable, just because I work shift work and, you know, I'm just kind of up and down and all over the place with my extracurriculars. So
that's not a big deal because I think this time, instead of just taking a week and a half, 2 weeks to listen to the discography and rank it, like because I did it on my own. I'm going to put at least a month and a half or more into this and really sort of digest it. Obviously, listening to other things in between so that my brain doesn't rot. Because, you know,
right.
But yeah, I think that's a good idea. What do you think, Joshy?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, Death is one of my favorite death metal bands anyway. I've got a few there. I'm only missing 2 of their albums now. One of which I've actually not listened to yet, and that is the last one, Sound of Perseverance. But all the others I know relatively well, but obviously I have to listen to them all again. But yeah, I think that'd be a good one to do if we're gonna do that one next. I'll be well up for that.
Indeed.
I'm good for that.
Yeah, I was only missing 1 or 2 until Simon sent me those 2 big boxes of Doom, man. And I get like fucking everything out of that goddamn. So now I've got them all, so I'll be able to just kind of show them and vinyls and all that shit. But yeah,
awesome,
cool, boys.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's the end of that.
Either way, under 2 hours, not bad.
Yeah. And then maybe when it's convenient for all of us, we should do another guitar stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be fun too. Yeah, I agree. All right, fellas. Well, it's about that time, and I think I'm going to head up and have some supper before we starve to death.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Not like I'm actually starving with my fat ass floating around here, but you know how it is. All right, cats. We will see you all later. Have a good night, boys.
Later on, fellas.
Yeehaw.
You.
See ya.